Hi guys, welcome to Cocinando con los Liwits. Today I'm gonna show you how I make this delicious recipe. It's called Aporreado and it's traditionally from where my mom is, from Guerrero. She used to cook it so delicious that I wanted to try it today. Actually, I've been wanting this dish for a while, for a couple years, and my mom sent me some dry meats, so it was a perfect opportunity to make this delicious dish. We're gonna use some tortillas to go with it. Okay, let's start. Okay, these are the ingredients that we're gonna need to make our delicious aporreado. And I am so excited about making this delicious dish because I haven't tried it in around, I don't know, more than 5 years, I wanna say. And I am so excited because my mom actually sent me this meat that is a traditional way that you make it with. It's called cecina and it's dry, but you can use any steak even if it's not dry to make this dish. You just need to cut the meat in little pieces, but we're gonna do it this time the traditional way, which is using this dry cecina meat. If you go to the Mexican carnicerias, meat departments in the stores, they have this. It's called cecina and you can dry it yourself if you want. So I'm so excited to make this dish with the meat that I'm supposed to make it with. So it's gonna turn out delicious. The other ingredients that we're gonna need are 10 eggs. I'm gonna use 10 eggs. You can use less if you want. 2 cloves of garlic. I use the granulated garlic, so I'm gonna use 1 spoon of that, and 1/4 of spoon of black pepper, and 1/4 of spoon of ground cumin. And I just use this little measurement things, I guess it's tablespoon. And I'm gonna use 2 tomatoes, half an onion, 2 jalapenos, and 2 serranos. You can use more or less depending how spicy you like your food. And we're gonna use some oil because we're gonna fry the meat, and then we're gonna add the eggs to that. So we're gonna start with the first step, that is to start roasting the peppers and the tomatoes. I have my tomatoes, peppers, and I put like 1/4 of the onion from the half that I had, and I'm just gonna roast everything until it turns like the roasted color, a little bit black. And while I'm waiting for this, I'm gonna start working on the next step. Okay guys, while I'm roasting my peppers and my tomatoes, I'm gonna start just cutting the meat in little pieces. And since it's dry, it's easy just to cut it in pieces around this size. And I'm just gonna do all my meat like this because we're gonna fry this meat. And since it's dry, it's so easy to just cut it in pieces with your hands. And if you're using fresh meat, you can just cut it with your knife in smaller pieces like this. They don't have to be perfect. Just try your best to make it like around that size. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on doing this. Okay guys, I finished cutting all my meat and this is how it looks. I cut it in little pieces as much as I was able to. And if it's hard for you to do it, you can use the knife or scissors to cut it in little pieces. Again, if you're using fresh meat too, you just have to cut it in little pieces around this size. And while I was doing this, my peppers were still roasting. So let's go check our tomatoes and peppers. Okay, my tomatoes and peppers are roasting. I want them a little bit more roasted, so I'm gonna leave them there a little bit longer. And if some of the peppers are already roasted enough, I'm just gonna take them out and leave the tomatoes there a little bit longer. So let's keep working on the next step. Okay, my peppers and my tomatoes and onion are almost done roasting, so I'm gonna start blending. I like to blend the spices first, so I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of water, and I'm gonna add my pepper, my cumin, and my garlic, and I'm gonna start blending that. Okay, I'm gonna add the cumin, I'm gonna add the pepper, and I'm gonna add all my garlic, and I'm gonna start blending this. And I'm just gonna add enough water until the blades are covered so everything blends together, and I'm gonna start blending it. Okay, I'm gonna start blending all the spices. the spices are blended, now I'm gonna go grab my peppers and I'm gonna start adding them to this. Okay, my peppers are perfectly roasted now the way I like them. I love when they have that little black roasted color because that gives it a lot of flavor to our salsa. So everything is ready and I'm just gonna take them to blend them. Okay, I'm just gonna start adding the peppers to my blender and the tomato and the onions, and I'm gonna start blending everything together. I'm gonna blend it, but I'm not gonna super blend it. I want the salsa to have a little bit of texture, so I'm gonna blend it just a little bit. Remember that I didn't add any salt to my salsa because the meat that I'm using, that is called cecina, it's already salty. So I'm gonna check when I'm almost done cooking it to see if it needs some salt or not. Okay, let's start blending this. Okay, the salsa is ready and it has a texture that I like, that is kind of like this, and you can see the little pieces of the roasted pepper. It smells and looks delicious with all the spices and everything. So we are ready for the next step. The next step is just to slice the onions in pieces. I cut these half and half, and I'm just gonna start slicing it this way. It doesn't really matter the way you cut it, so it's up to you, but this is how I do. I'm done with my onion. This is how it looks, and now we are ready to go with the next step, which is to start cracking the eggs and putting them in a container to just mix them around. I'm just going to crack all my eggs and I'm gonna add them to this plate, and here is where I'm gonna mix them to. So I'm gonna keep going with this process until I have all my eggs in here. Okay, now that I have all my eggs here, I'm just gonna start mixing them so they mix really good, the whites with the yolks. And I'm using a fork. I think it's so much easier to mix them with a fork. Okay, I'm gonna keep mixing them, and then we're gonna go with our next step. Okay, so I have everything ready here for the next step. I have my onions, my meat, my dry meat, carne seca, my eggs, and oil. I'm gonna add oil to my pan, enough to fry my meat. I will say around half a cup, because we're gonna fry the meat and then we're gonna fry the eggs too. Okay, the oil is warm, so I'm gonna start adding all my meat to start frying it. It smells and looks delicious, so let's add all the meat. Okay, I lower my heat to medium, and I'm gonna make sure I fry all this meat. It's gonna change color, and I'm gonna try to keep stirring it so it cooks evenly. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, my meat is completely cooked. I think it looks evenly. The colors, it's fried, so I'm gonna start adding the onion. This is the step where I like to add the onion, and I'm gonna start frying the onion with the meat. And all the smells are coming out, delicious. Okay, the onion is already fried, it's changing color, and my meat is ready. So I'm gonna add the eggs right here to my pan. Okay, this is how we do it. We just got the eggs and we just start adding it on top of the meat. Delicious. We're gonna add all the eggs. Okay, I'm gonna start mixing the egg with the meat, and remember that we put the temperature a little bit low to fry the onions and the meat. Now I'm putting it back on high heat, and I'm gonna start mixing it until my egg is cooked. Smells delicious, looks delicious, guys. You can have this for any meal of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Delicious. Okay, the egg is cooked, and as you can see, it integrated with the onion and the meat. So there are little chunks of everything. And at this step is when you can remove some of the egg in a plate. If you have somebody that doesn't like spicy, it's delicious like this. You can even eat it just like this, or use it for burritos like this. It's delicious too. Okay, I'm gonna just take out some for my kids that don't like spicy right now. And then I'm gonna add the salsa. Okay, this is what I took out. It's ready. Let's add our salsa to our eggs with milk. Okay, we're gonna add a salsa and it's gonna start making this delicious frying sound. We're just gonna add all the salsa. Okay, let's keep adding all the sauce to our egg. Okay, I'm just gonna gently stir it around so my egg doesn't really dissolve. We're gonna mix it good, and then we're gonna let it cook for around 5 minutes with the lid on. Okay, it started to boil, so I'm gonna put the lid on and I'm gonna leave it there for 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat to low and just let it sit there boiling for 5 minutes. Please don't forget to subscribe to Cocinando with the Diwits, Cocinando con los Diwits, or Cooking with the Diwits, I guess. And follow all our delicious recipes. Guys, it smells super delicious. The salsa, all the spices is still cooking. It's around 2 more minutes, and I'm getting my tortillas ready too. If you can make handmade tortillas, those are the best. Today I'm just using these tortillas that were already made to go with my aporreado, delicioso aporreado. At this point, I came and tasted the little sauce from my aporreado just to make sure that it has enough salt, and it's perfect because the cecina is salty. But if you want more salt, you just add more at this point. Okay guys, it's ready. It smells delicious. I'm so excited. I haven't had this in a long time, so I'm so excited to eat it. Remember, it's supposed to be runny with the juice of the sauce. And let's put it in our plate and get our plate ready. Look at the juices. So delicious. It smells so good. I can't wait to eat it. Okay guys, our plate is ready and it looks delicious. And we have the tortillas right there. I already tasted it and it's so super good. It reminds me of my childhood when my mom used to make it. For this dish, you're gonna need a fork or a spoon or both of them. And you need a spoon because it's so juicy. You're gonna need to get the juice, and it's so tasty that you're gonna want to eat it all. Okay guys, thank you so much. Enjoy. I hope you like this recipe, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay, bye bye.